Hi, it's just me, Mitch. Got some more queer for you. We went to a Russian restaurant for dinner. Lee looked through the menu. By the way, he said, the law was in putting the bite on the ship ahoy again. Vice squad, 200 pesos. I can see them in the station house. After a hard day shaking down citizens of the federal district. One cop says, Ah, Gonzales, you should see what I got today. Oh, la la, such a bite. Ah, you should look down a puto queer for 2 pesetas in a bus station. Crapper. We know you, Hernandez, and your cheap tricks. You're the cheapest cop in a federal district. Lee waved to the waiter. Hey, Jack, dos martinis, much dry. Cinco, and dos plates shish kebab. Sabe? The waiter nodded. That's 2 dry martinis and 2 orders of shish kebab, right, gentlemen? Solid, Pops. So how was your evening with Dume? He went we went to several bars full of queers. One place a character asked me to dance and propositioned me. Take him up? No. Dume is a nice fellow. Allerton smiled. Yes, but he is not a person I would confide too much in. That is anything I wanted to keep private. You refer to a specific indiscretion? Frankly, yes. I see, Lee thought. Dume never misses. The waiter put 2 martinis on the table. He held his martini up to the candle, looking at it with distaste. The inedible watery martini with a composing olive, he said. Lee bought a lottery ticket for my boy of 10 or so, who had rushed in when the waiter went to the kitchen. The boy was working the last ticket routine. Lee paid him expansively like a drunk American. Go buy yourself some marijuana, son, he said. The boy smiled and turned to leave. Come back in 5 years and make an easy 10 pesos, Lee called after him. Allerton smiled. Thank God, Lee thought. I won't have to contend with middle-class morality. Here you are, sir, said the waiter, placing the shish kebab on the table. Lee ordered 2 glasses of red wine. So Doomy told you about my, proclivities, he said abruptly. Yes, said Allerton, his mouth full. A curse, been in your family for generations. The Lees have always been perverts. I shall never forget the unspeakable horror that froze the lymph in my glands. The lymph glands, that is, of course. When the baneful word seared my reeling brain, I was a homosexual. I thought of the painted, simpering female impersonators I had seen in Baltimore nightclub. Could it be possible that I was one of those subhuman beings? Subhuman things? I walked the streets in a daze, like a man with a light concussion. Just a minute, Dr. Kildare isn't your script? Ugh. Just a minute, Dr. Kildare, this isn't your script. I might as well have destroyed myself, ending an existence which seemed to offer nothing but grotesque misery and humiliation. Nobler, I thought, to die a man than live on, a sex monster. It was a wise old queen, Bobo we called her, who taught me that I had a duty to live and to bear my burden proudly for all to see, to conquer prejudice and ignorance and hate with knowledge and sincerity and love. Whenever you are threatened by a hostile presence, you emit a thick cloud of love like an octopus squirts out ink. Poor Bobo, come to a sticky end. He was riding in a Dos de Ventus Hispano Suiza when his falling piles flew out of the cart and wrapped around the rear wheel. He was completely gutted, leaving an empty shell sitting there on a giraffe-skin upholstery. Even the eyes and the brain went out, with a horrible schlucking sound. The duck says he will carry that ghastly shut with him to his mausoleum. Then I knew the meaning of loneliness, but Boba's words came back to me from the tomb, a sibilance cracking gently. No one is ever really alone. You are part of everything alive. The difficulty is to convince someone else he is really part of you, so what the hell? Us parts ought to work together, Reap. Lee paused, looking at Allerton speculatively. Just where do I stand with this kid, he wondered. He had listened politely, smiling at intervals. What I mean is, Allerton, we are all parts of a tremendous whole. No use fighting it. Lee was getting tired of that routine. He looked around recklessly for some place to put it down. Don't these gay bars depress you? Of course, the queer bars here aren't to compare with the stateside queer joints. I wouldn't know, said Allerton. I've never been in any queer joints except those Dume took me to. I guess there's kicks and kicks. You haven't, really? No, never. He paid the bill and they walked out to the cool night. The crescent moon was clear and green in the sky. They walked aimlessly. Shall we go to my place for a drink? I have some Napoleon brandy. All right, said Allerton. This is completely unpretentious little brandy. You understand? None of this tourist treacle with obvious effects of flavoring appealing to the mass. My brandy has no need of shoddy devices to shock and coerce the palate. Come along, we called a cab. 3 pesos to Insurgentes in Monterey, he said to the driver in his atrocious Spanish. The driver said 4. Lee waved him on. The driver muttered something and opened the door. Inside, Lee turned to Allerton. The man plainly harbors subversive thoughts. You know, when I was at Princeton, communism was the thing. To come out flat for private property and class society, you mark yourself a stupid loud or suspect to be a high Episcopalian pederast. But I held out against the infection of communism, of course. Aquí, Lee handed 3 pesos to the driver, who muttered some more and started the car with a vicious flash of gears. Sometimes I think they don't like us, said Allerton. I don't mind people disliking me, Lee said. The question is, what are they in a position to do about it? Apparently nothing at present. They don't have the green light. This driver, for example, hates gringos, but if he kills someone, and very possibly he will, it will not be an American. It will be another Mexican. Maybe his good friends. Friends are less frightening than strangers. Lee opened the door of his apartment and turned on the light. The apartment was pervaded by seemingly hopeless disorder. Here and there, ineffectual attempts had been made to arrange things in piles. There are no lived-in touches, no pictures, no decorations. Clearly, none of the furniture was his, but Lee's presence permeated the apartment. A coat over the back of the chair and a hat on the table were immediately recognizable as belonging to Lee. I'll fix you a drink. Lee got to the water glasses from the kitchen and poured 2 inches of Mexican brandy in each glass. Allerton tasted the brandy. Good Lord, he said. Napoleon must have pissed in this one. I was afraid of that, an untutored palate. Your generation has never learned the pleasures that trained palate confers on the disciplined few. He took a long drink of the brandy. He attempted an ecstatic inhaled some of the brandy, and began to cough. It is god-awful, he said when he could talk. Still better than California brandy. It has the suggestion of cognac taste. There is a long silence. Allerton was sitting with his head leaning back against the couch. His eyes were half closed. Can I show you over the house? Said Lee, standing up. In here we have the bedroom. Allerton got to his feet slowly. He went into the bedroom, and Allerton lay down under the bed and lit a cigarette. Lee sat on the lonely chair. More brandy? Lee asked. Allerton nodded. Lee sat down on the edge of the bed and filled his glass and handed it to him. Lee touched his sweater. Sweet stuff, dearie, he said. That wasn't made in Mexico. I bought it in Scotland, he said. He began to hiccough violently and got up and rushed for the bathroom. Lee stood in the doorway. Too bad, he said. What could be the matter? You didn't drink much. He filled the glass with water and handed it to Allerton. You all right now? He asked. Yes, I think so. Allerton lay down on the bed again. He reached out a hand and touched Allerton's ear and caressed the side of his face. Allerton reached up and covered one of Lee's hands and squeezed it. Let's get this sweater off. Okay, said Allerton. He took off the sweater and then lay down again. Lee took off his own shoes and shirt. He opened Allerton's shirt and he ran his hand down Allerton's ribs and stomach, which contracted beneath his fingers. God, you're skinny, he said. I'm pretty small. Lee took off Allerton's shoes and socks. He loosened Allerton's belt and unbuttoned his trousers. Allerton arched his body and Lee pulled the trousers and drawers off. He dropped his own trousers and shorts and lay down beside him. Allerton responded without hostility or disgust, but in his eyes Lee saw a curious detachment, the impersonal calm of an animal or a child. Later, when they lay side by side smoking, Lee said, "Oh, by the way, you said you had a camera in pawn you were about to lose?" It occurred to Lee that to bring the matter up at this time was not tactful, but he decided the other was not the type to take offense. "Yes, in for 400 pesos. The ticket runs out Wednesday. Well, let's go down tomorrow and get it out." Allerton raised one bare shoulder off the sheet. "Okay," he said. And that's it for now. The next chapter part will be next time. Thank you very much for listening.